Live from Soho, New York City, it's Wearable Electronics with Becky Stern.
That's me. Hey, welcome to the show. Each week we help you discover the wide world of wearable electronics. With me is Phil, Mr. Lady Ada himself.
Yes, I'll be operating the camera, multiple keyboards, and I'm part of the decoration here. So, that's right.
Will you wear a tiara at this show also?
Yeah, it's in my contract. I
Yep.
basically have to wear anything 3D printed or lights up that Becky Stern hands me.
I use my powers for good. What's on today's show, Phil?
On today's show, the code is clock. 10% off floor and wearable accessories expires tonight, 11:59 p.m. tonight.
Get your clock on.
Get your clock on. Next up, we got some world news from the world of fashion and more. Becky will be talking about that.
Those look like NeoPixels.
That's right. We have Wearable Wednesday. That'll be how we kick it off. We have component of the week.
LEDs this week, big ones.
Okay. We've got tools we heart.
This is sort of a tool and component.
All right. You've got questions. Becky has answers.
If you have questions at any point during the show, leave them in the comments, either on YouTube or Google Plus or Twitter or Carrier Pigeon, and I'll add them to the queue. And if I answer them on an upcoming show, you will be entered to win the show giveaway. So that'll be later today.
Okay. And we'll, of course, have a lot of other fun stuff. All that and more on Wearable Electronics with Becky Stern. All right. Let's kick this off.
We have a lot of exciting things happening this week. Every week on the Adafruit blog, it's Wearable Wednesday.
That's right.
You can find all kinds of cool things going on. Last week was New York Fashion Week.
That's right.
So there were some interesting developments.
Yeah, I'm going to call it. This is the year of wearable electronics hitting the runway in a big way.
Woohoo.
And here's why. It doesn't require so much expense and expertise now. It means some of the smaller fashion houses, which tend to be the most innovative, that the big ones kind of rip off later, have a shot.
Yep.
And I think that's one of the things that we saw.
Yeah, I mean, and so we saw, this
Yeah, let's do this thing.
this runway show from Chromat, which is like a sort of like architectural swimwear and like body cage style fashion label. Used our NeoPixel rings there and sewable NeoPixels on a bunch of different garments.
Yeah. What's cool about the NeoPixel rings is there's only the NeoPixel rings, and so it's like, oh, that's definitely our stuff.
Yeah, because nobody else makes them
Yeah.
yet, for now.
This is
So
cool.
it's a cool face mask. They do a lot of like elastic, like their stuff
Yeah.
really lends itself to adding LEDs because it's very structural and architectural already with lines.
Yeah.
And so like you'll see on the next picture that they were used on the inside of this body cage pointing towards the model's body, so they kind of like illuminate her as well as like inform, like let you see the silhouette of the body
Yeah.
cage. And so that was really interesting. We got some really good feedback from the folks at this design house that the Adafruit pieces, she called them, are a big hit with people just in the collection. Not every piece in the
That
collection.
sounds so fancy. The Adafruit pieces.
The Adafruit pieces
Yeah.
are a big hit.
We usually say, hey, how'd that product ID work out for you? Okay. All
Got
right.
some 659s in there.
Yeah, and there's also other things that were.
Yeah, so
was on
actually the
blog.
people who share a space, a design studio space with Chromat, Dagan is I guess the lady's fashion brand. She's actually a friend of a former Adafruit employee here, James DeVito, who made this rainbow installation for her like Fashion Week event. She did a performance with knitting machines and had some light up Crocs, which also have Adafruit hardware inside them. So check out these custom platform shoes.
Yeah.
And then inside the platform is a trinket and some of our single solderable NeoPixels.
Yeah, and what's neat about this is I saw people Instagramming stuff, and they had this photo, and then all the people in the comments were saying, I want to buy those. Where can I buy those? And someone said, you can just use the Adafruit learning guide on learn.adafruit.com.
Yeah,
So they actually recognize that. That's neat.
It is really neat.
That's neat. So like light up shoes that have RGB LEDs, round NeoPixels. It's nice. It's cool. Like fashion's happening, and trinket is low cost, and so it's not like, oh my gosh, the cost of the electronics is now greater than the shoes.
Right. No, it's not.
Yeah.
I mean, and especially for these like couture pieces that are, show pieces, they're not that expensive.
Yeah. Okay. What's up next year?
Elsewhere on the blog, check out these. I don't know what these glasses are all about, but this guy's showing off his Flora shirt that's got NeoPixels around the collar, and then his glasses are like something else going on. He calls them his laser shades.
That's nice because I need glowing blue eyes.
Freaking scary.
For my Dune costume. So I'm going for Dune Punk. It's kind of like the next thing.
Dune Punk. Remember, Halloween 2014,
Yeah.
Dune Punk.
Dune All right.
Yeah, I need to find out more information about those glasses.
That's nice. That's great. And he has a little floor thing. This looks cool. This guy should say, hey, what's going on? Not much. Everything's good. Oh, yeah? Yeah, everything's fine. Look at this. Hey, you know her? Yep, I know her too.
You guys want to go get a drink later? Okay.
Let's go shoe shopping. Okay.
Okay, sweet.
It's cool.
Nice. So that and much more on the Adafruit blog today.
Okay.
Lots of really rich, such a visually rich day.
Yeah.
In other news, there's this conference coming up in April in San Francisco, the Smart Fabrics and Wearable Technology Conference. Adafruit is a media sponsor.
All right. That's great
So
stuff.
today up on the blog, there's an interview. I posted up an interview they did with somebody from Reebok about the future of wearables in athletics.
Yeah.
So check it out.
Okay. Just a reminder, the code is CLOCK. 10% off floor and wearables in the Adafruit store. Everything that's in stock. Code CLOCK.
That was a really clever crop you just did.
What?
Like, how did you get it to just say 10% right across the bottom? You did that was really. You say that you're slow today, but you're not. That was really fast. Nice.
Yeah. I lost a few pints of blood, folks, but everything's okay.
Nice cropping.
Yeah. All right.
So in the shop,
got more.
In the Adafruit store, we're now carrying Ninja Flex filament, black and white. So any of the designs we've been showing you, the diffusers, the Flora wristband, you can now get your bill of materials, including the flexible filament, in your Adafruit cart.
Yeah. We have a guide that'll be coming out shortly.
There's a video coming out shortly also.
And this is really neat material. We also have printers now in the store. We're waiting for another round of 3D printers, and what's cool is this stuff pretty much works on most of the 3D printers.
Yeah. And
Super
you know,
handy.
just like it's high, it's pretty. Use a high temperature,
Yeah.
and there's a few design constraints, but it's really easy, like easier than our 3D printing folks like Matt and everybody expected. We expected it to be a lot harder to work with.
Yeah, Noah and Pedro sent you a diffused, like, spiky thing.
We'll make a headband and a wristband and a necklace.
Yeah, it's almost as if this material was made for wearable electronics. Maybe it was.
Maybe it was. They heard that I was skeptical of 3D printed hard plastic, and somebody heard, and they made a material just for me. That's how I like to think about it.
No, it's squishy. Yeah. Okay. What's going on here? We got some fun stuff.
Valentine's Day. I thought you could tell us about what's happening for Valentine's Day on the site.
Yeah, so here's the thing about Valentine's Day. Every year, because we're a company, and they're really like, what are you doing for Valentine's Day? You have a sale or a promotion or something? And we like to encourage people to make things.
Yeah.
And I think no matter what, a lot of people are going to give flowers, right?
But, you know, people like talk a big game. Everybody still loves flowers.
Everybody likes flowers.
I would like to tell you that I think the cut flower industry sucks, and like I don't. But like somebody brings me flowers, and I will melt. Like it's just.
Yeah. And so one of the things I asked Matt to do, who's our community and support manager and also a 3D printing expert, is, hey, let's 3D print some black roses. Because I like the idea that flowers are temporary and you kind of savor that special moment, but I also like the idea of someone spending the time it takes to 3D print something for you, and it's special that you'll have for a long period of time. Mm-hmm. So I think one day in the future we'll see big florists, like 800 flowers and whatever, actually 3D print flowers on the fly, full color.
Sure.
So you've heard it here first.
Yeah.
It'll be transcribed and searched, and one day it'll be like, oh, that crazy guy Phil was saying there'll be full color 3D printers that you'll design your own flowers. Mm-hmm. So I thought this was kind of a nice glimpse. These are black and cold and dark.
Adafruit black.
Like us. And, and I thought it was kind of neat to have these. So we have them. I'll probably show them on Ask an Engineer tonight too.
They're really nice.
But I really like the way they
go
turned out.
along with we're doing lots of Valentine's Day coverage on the site, so like heart-shaped projects and things you can build for your Valentine.
Yeah. Okay. Speaking of,
today on the blog also, so here's one example of a heart-shaped pendant made with our bicolor LED matrix backpack.
That's nice.
Yep, and there's a couple other heart-shaped things up on the blog today.
Yeah.
Moving right along, our last segment of Wearable Wednesday is today's project launch. It's not a heart-shaped clock, but it is a circular clock made with NeoPixel rings and Flora.
I'm just going to say it. This is one of my favorite projects already.
Really?
One of my favorite projects already.
Oh.
Here's why.
Thanks.
Here's why. Because it's a project that you can put on your desk. Mm-hmm. You can bring it with you. You can wear it. Mm-hmm. It combines a lot of different things.
Make a good hair fascinator, I think.
Yeah. Looks cool on anybody.
Yep.
And anything.
Mm-hmm. And it's pretty easy to since I'm writing the code, it's pretty easy to wrap your head around it. It's like a, it's like because there's 24 LEDs in the big ring, 12 LEDs in the middle ring. It's pretty easy to wrap your head around how the time translates into the animation.
Yeah.
And it's a really fun build, pretty easy build.
I feel like I'm describing it, and if we only had a video, it'd probably help.
Play the video.
I'm gonna play a video.
It's easy to build your own clock with NeoPixel rings and Flora, Adafruit's wearable electronics platform. The Flora GPS provides accurate timekeeping, and the clock's circular motif make it a handsome addition to your desk, wall, or even around your neck. To get started, solder up your Flora and GPS back to back. Use a piece of double-sided tape to get the position right. Connect a coin cell battery holder to the GPS as well, and route the wires through an unused hole in the Flora. This battery lets the GPS keep its last known position even when the power's off, so it syncs the current time more quickly when you power it on. Then assemble the NeoPixel ring circuit, wiring the output from the outer ring to the input of the inner ring. Some tape can help keep everything in position while you solder. During testing and to set the time, make sure the GPS has a clear view of the sky, or just use one of our long GPS antennas and leave it outside. Download the Adafruit libraries for both the GPS and the NeoPixels and test them separately before loading up your clock face. This design's based on Kevin Alford's clock face, modified to use 2 NeoPixel rings, set the time from the GPS, and we also made it easy to orient your clock no matter which way is up. You can find the code and the complete tutorial for this project on the Adafruit Learning System. Use a bit of wire to make a stand for your clock, or hang it on the wall and plug it in with a USB power adapter. Or go portable on battery power and add this clock to your personal style. Thanks so much for watching, and subscribe for more projects to build from Adafruit.
All right.
Also, in necklace form, like Flavor Flav. I actually had to look up how to spell Flavor Flav's name because I was putting it in the learning guide, and it is indeed Flavor Flav.
Yeah.
I thought it was Flavor Flav.
Yeah, I think autocorrect actually has it in there now too. So on a phone you can, or it'll be flavory flavor. So this is cool. I like this because it shows all the possibilities of this project. So you can wear it as a necklace. You can have it as a desk clock. You guys can't really see this here, but you can make a nice little stand. So nice.
I can show you on the overhead if you want.
Yeah, let's go to this overhead.
The stand is made from the highest quality piece of hookup wire.
Spared no expense.
Spared no expense, exactly.
Yeah.
Twisted in just a way to make it stand up. And
Oh,
I would
nice.
recommend plugging, if you're gonna have it on your desk or on the wall, to plug it in with USB so that it's won't ever run out of battery. But I just have the battery one here so I can easily show it to you guys. But yeah, I just made a little twisted wire stand.
That's nice.
Oh. And the other one's on a necklace behind us.
Yeah. There's a little close up of it too. Look at that.
Mm-hmm.
That's sparkly.
Nice photos by Andrew Tingle.
That's great. Okay, just a reminder, if you'd like to buy this.
The parts to build your own. You can get 10% off in Flora and Wearables by
Yeah.
using code CLOCK.
Okay, next up, component of the week.
Guess what, guys? It's some 10mm LEDs. They look like gumdrops. They don't quite taste like gumdrops.
We made a project that
turns them into gumdrops. More on that in a moment.
Yeah.
These are they're the standard LEDs for LED throwies, which are like the little graffiti LEDs with a magnet and a battery on them. They're big and juicy and really make a statement all on their own with a diffused lens. We have them in red, green, white, blue, and RGB.
Yeah.
And in a 10-pack, and then also in our Punk LED collar kit.
Yeah, I like this project too because Lady Ada she made one when she was like a teenager and used to go to like gothy clubs.
Yeah, this kit is a teenage Lady Ada product.
Yeah, and we also have.
We have a video.
Yeah, we have a video, and here we go.
Getting bored of the same old punk fashion and want something new to DIY?
Get it. Make it yourself.
So you can glow. And glow.
And glow.
Punk LED collar tutorial on learn.adafruit.com with a kit available from Adafruit.
All right, and
So
we're
there's
back.
a project you can build with 10mm LEDs.
Yeah. I like this tutorial because it has all the different steps and it combines some different skills.
Yeah.
So this is like, maybe you can explain like what's going on over here.
Yeah, you slice little slits in the leather collar, and then you push the LEDs through, and then you bend all the leads down together and solder them up. So it's a fun, it's a crafty project. It's good practice for your soldering skill, where it's not just like connect these two things any which way. It's like they have to be attached in a very dainty manner, kind of like the tiara project. But at the same time, it's very easy. And your goth teenager will not have trouble building it.
Yeah. And you got a couple other photos. This is a nice close-up. And then on the journey of all these, you've got the green ones.
Green ones. Here's the white one. I think this photo is special. Because then we can bask in its glow.
Oh, look. Yeah, it's actually the size of like a refrigerator or something. Like, ooh.
Yeah, really big, 10 milliliter LED.
Yeah.
And then here's our RGB one, so that's got a bunch of connections for the different, common anode, and then one for each channel. And then, wait, what's this? Are those LEDs we carry in the store?
No, not for buying, only for eating.
I can't run anything by you. I can't pass anything by you,
Yeah.
Phil. These are our LED gummy candies that Molly and I made last spring. I don't remember. I have to look at like my length of the hair and then see like when we made them.
Yeah.
But a really popular build that like takes the idea of 10 millimeter LEDs looking like candies and makes it real.
So these are not for buying, only for eating.
Only for eating.
And when you go to pet stores, it's just for buying, not for eating. You can't eat the pets that are at pet stores. Those are just for buying.
Just for
not
buying.
For eating.
I have a funny story about last Valentine's Day. My dog walker left a heart-shaped cookie in a wrapper, and I was I was on a video chat later that evening with my friend Brooklyn in California, and was like, my dog walker left me a cookie. I'm gonna go get it and eat it. And like on the video chat, I like open the cookie and I take a bite from the cookie, and I go, oh, this cookie is very clearly for the dog.
You ate a dog cookie, and there's video evidence of this.
It was not recorded. That wasn't recorded. It was just a
Right. I was gonna go to the time code
it was
thing.
so funny.
Okay.
I wish it were broadcast. It was so funny. But yeah, these are for human eating, not for dogs eating.
Okay.
And not for buying.
Okay.
Roll the video.
Okay.
Welcome to Wearable Wednesday. Oh, I guess we're doing Edible Wednesday today. This is Molly. She makes stuff happen here at Adafruit. Today we're going to make these LED gummy candies happen here in my kitchen. We're going to make a mold from some 10 millimeter LEDs and some silicone food-safe rubber, and then 3D print some LED legs to use as toothpicks for these delicious tart gummy candies. First things first, we're going to make a mold directly from some 10 millimeter LEDs. You know, those ones that look like gumdrops to begin with. So cut out 5 pieces of foam core, 1 floor of your mold and 5 walls. The dimension of our mold is 15 by 11 inches because that's what size will fit in my freezer drawer. And I've raised the floor of the mold off of the working surface by 1 inch so that the leads of the LEDs poking through will have a place to go while still maintaining a nice level mold. While I'm normally not a fan of hot glue, this I believe is its true purpose. Use it liberally to create a nice tight seal. Now that I have everything laid out that I need, I'll turn on my scale, place my bigger measuring vessel on it, and zero it out. Zero it out again. And then 200 grams, here we come. 140, 150, 170, whoa, 197, 200. We got it. Okay. So I've got my part A and my part B measured out in quantity. I'm going to use my same stirrer. But once I mix the two, we're entering into what's called the work time of the silicone. It's the amount of time you have to work before it starts to get hardened. And I think this one's like half an hour, so we're not in a huge rush. But temperature can change that. So if it's really hot, it'll set up faster. Just be aware of your work time in case you have to work quickly or you want to make multiple molds. So I'm just going to pour part B right into part A, start mixing it, and then pour it into my mold. So now's the time when you would check your mold for leaks. If you need to patch up a hole, you can use packing tape, you can use more hot glue. You can save your mold from leaking all over the place if it is leaking at this point. So now it's time to let the mold cure for 24 hours, and then we're going to follow the manufacturer's instructions for making it ultra food safe, which involves baking it in the oven, and we'll get on to the candy making.
We need to start 1/3 cup of cold water.
I got that. We have plain gelatin, 3 packets, and we want to dissolve it in the cold water very slowly so we don't get any lumps. So it's going to be a whole like sprinkle, stir kind of dance. So you want to stir and I'll sprinkle?
Sounds good.
It's really solid now. It's like a paste. So we'll grab our plastic wrap.
Now it's beginning to have the consistency of Play-Doh.
And we'll leave it on the counter for 10 minutes.
So now we have our flavor packet, which is strawberry, and we're going to add it to our gelatin, which is heating over this double boiler. You want to gradually add it in, the same way we did with our gelatin. So now we've added the entire packet, and we're going to add a little ascorbic acid to give it a little bit of a kick flavor. It's going to make it a little bit sour. Now you want to be sure to add the ascorbic acid at the end, because the heat can change the flavor very quickly. And as soon as you add that acid, you want to turn your heat off and get it right into the fridge. Only take the very clear stuff out of the bottom. Now we can begin adding our solution into our mold.
To create realistic leads for our LEDs, we designed a file in 3D to print in PLA, a corn-based plastic, and you can find that file by following the link in the description below.
We popped the mold in the freezer for a couple minutes to make them easier to unmold, and since the silicone is flexible, we can kind of just go.
We hope that you found our LED gummy candy presentation enlightening.
So please join our weekly show and tell on Google+, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel on YouTube. Great joke, Molly.
All right, go Molly with the cameo. Okay, so there was another photo here, and this is kind of like the mold process. Is this what it is?
So mold making with those 10mm LEDs, we just pierced them through the foam core, and then the silicone just molds right over them. So you can use actual LEDs to make edible LEDs.
Yeah, that's nice.
And then I still have a big bucket of red LEDs that we can't sell because I bent the leads, but they're perfectly good.
Code is clock, 10% off. Flora and wearables category on Adafruit.com, everything in stock. Becky, it's tools we love, one of our favorite new segments.
This is solder wick. It's sort of a tool and it's sort of a material, but it's mainly a tool. I wanted to focus on its primary
Is this like a platypus? It's
sort of, yeah, because it's a tool that you use for desoldering. So it's a braid of thin copper wires, and that means it's got a lot of surface area. And if you remember high school physics, you might have learned about capillary action and how if you heat this stuff up with your soldering iron and you press it against an area on your circuit that has too much solder on it, the solder will liquefy and then it'll be slurped up by all of the surface area and the capillary action of the solder wick.
Yeah.
And
like a sponge.
Take it away. So if you're, especially on like floor or things with really big pads that you can really get a lot of solder on there, before you use a desoldering bulb or pump, you can use this stuff to get off the excess. And I have one that has solder on it that we can put on the overhead. I don't know if you want to do your manual focus magic.
Yeah, I will. I'm on this. This is like a video game for me now.
Yeah. So this is what the braid looks like when it has solder, it's sort of saturated with solder. Yeah. And it gets used up and then you cut it off and use it further down the line. But what else I wanted to show you about solder wick, besides that it's really useful for wearables projects in like cleaning up your messes if you're learning how to solder.
Yeah.
You can also use it to deliver power in your circuit. So it's uninsulated, of course, but it is copper, so it's super conductive. Here I just have it zigzagged to a piece of fabric, so you can use it for big power buses of neopixels if you want, instead of like many layers of conductive thread, and you can solder to it. So if you want to make a soldered circuit.
That's a really good idea.
Yeah.
I actually never knew that we were doing that.
Well, we haven't used it in a project like this, but it is possible and
That's
useful.
cool.
Yeah.
And it comes in like a length, so it's not like...
Comes on a spool, yeah.
Yeah, and it's low cost too. This stuff is
Yeah, it's
super
pretty
cheap.
low cost.
Okay.
I mean, it's made out of copper, so it's expensive as wire, but it's
Yeah, that's a cool
yeah.
tip.
That's why it's on the Wearable show. I mean,
Yeah.
not only because it's good for cleaning up your solder
It'd be
messes,
good if
but
we could collect all these types of tips and maybe do like a weekly show or... Oh, wait.
yeah, you know, I mean, we've been
right.
talking about that for a long time. I wish we could finally make it happen.
Okay. All right. All right.
So there's a quick segment.
Okay.
Solder wick.
Question and answer time,
Questions and
Becky.
answers. Remember, if you have questions, I need more questions. So if you have questions about wearable electronics, leave them in the comments. I'll answer them like next week or the week after. You'll be entered in the giveaway. Everyone will benefit from the knowledge of answering your question.
Yeah.
And I'll give you props on the show.
All right.
And maybe win something. So yeah, here's today's question.
Okay, first question. This one is from Ian. My little sister and I are working on a project that involves a massive number of wearable LED nanopixels.
He means neopixels.
Nanopixels is kind of nice.
Yeah, sure.
To figure out what hopefully lightweight batteries to use, I ran some simple calculations that came up with 10 amp hour of juice at 3.3 volts. I know you can't exactly stack LiPo batteries in parallel due to discharge issues. How do you approach wearable projects that require large amounts of battery power without toting lead acid battery backpack around? Good question.
It is a good question. We're going to do a video about this upcoming pretty soon.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
But you can, as you will notice, we don't have a project on the Adafruit learning system that uses 10 amps of power on your person yet, because it's there's no one right answer to your question. That's why we're going to do a whole video about battery power. But for 10 amps, you can actually stack LiPoly batteries in parallel, and I would recommend not putting them in the same place as each other. Splice them in different places in your circuit, especially if you're using conductive fiber or conductive thread, because you'll compensate for some of the voltage drop over distance by putting like one LiPoly at the beginning of your pixel chain and one at the end. Just use the same size batteries and just like make sure they're both fully charged when you start. There can be some mismatch discharge issues that would shorten the life of your batteries over time, but like, do you want to wear those pixels or not?
Yeah.
And then another thing you can do is take two of our the biggest USB battery packs, the ones we carry for Raspberry Pi that have USB coming off of them. Use two, like a Flora and a Gemma or something, both that have the USB like voltage handling.
Yeah.
You can put one at the beginning of your circuit and one at the end, just hooked up to power and ground.
Okay. That's a good tip.
Yeah, to deliver, and then that battery is doing its own discharge power management. But those are pretty beefy. But you could put them in a backpack or something.
Yeah.
That'd be fine.
I know for a fact that when they filmed Blade Runner, they used lead acid batteries in backpacks to power the neon umbrellas.
Because they were holding actual neon tubes. We're talking about direct current LEDs here.
So unless you're doing that, you probably.
But
don't
it's
need
very
to do that.
ambitious, so be careful.
This one from Brad. Your 3D printed buttons are inspirational. Thanks. Do you know if anyone has done 3D printed Christmas lights with a NeoPixel?
I have not seen them, but did you notice our Christmas tree topper?
Yeah. Christmas is only a few months away.
The opportunity is there for you. I have not seen it. Please, will you make a NeoPixel Christmas light?
Yeah.
Christmas tree strand.
All right. Next up. Question: what is the power consumption of NeoPixel like compared to a traditional RGB LED Adafruit part number 159? What would last longer? Constantly powered by Gemma with a lithium-ion 3.7 volt.
They're so close. They're
battery?
so
Yeah.
negligibly close
Yeah.
because, think about it. The amount of power that the LED takes is like so much greater than the amount of power that the chip inside the NeoPixel needs to actually run its logic. And there are like a couple extra components on the NeoPixel board or on a strip. There's like resistors and capacitors, and you're always going to have some loss of, loss of power as heat in any resistor situation. So but the amount of power that chip uses is so tiny that we don't even really consider it when we're doing amperage calculations for the NeoPixels.
Yeah.
It's just how many milliamps the pixels are going to draw based on what brightness and how many of them are on at once. like, I don't know, like, unless you're building a thing that goes into space and you're like really, really tight on like payload and stuff like that, I don't
First
see
the
why.
runway.
Then
space.
Then space. I don't
Yeah.
see why the difference would. It's so negligible. I don't see, unless you were doing space stuff, why it would matter.
Okay. Next up, this is from Chris. What about other solvents on other wearables? For example, if I sneezed on a motion-activated LED wristband, would an antibacterial spray or Clorox wipe damage it by possibly oxidizing contact or something? Wow, what can get washable is now so
Achoo.
taken care of. Now it's like,
Achoo.
can I wash it with other things?
Achoo, I need to sneeze
Yeah.
on my wearables.
Guys are
Yeah,
intense.
solvents can oxidize stuff. I mean, like your circuit is made out of metal, right? The contacts are, well, we make them gold-plated on our Flora line so that they oxidize more slowly than, other types of plating. Like, but, wipe it with a damp, wet, like water cloth after to wipe
Yeah.
off any solvent residue. But like,
Yeah.
I mean, your mileage may vary, basically.
I know
Try out.
pineapple is the one fruit that actually starts to eat you when you put it in your mouth. It starts to dissolve you. There's nothing really to do it. I don't think you should wash your wearable electronics with pineapple.
With pineapple, there was this one time I was in an exchange trip in Costa Rica in high school, and my host family was like, "Becky, there's some cut up pineapple in the fridge," and I'm like, "Oh, okay, thanks." And I like go in there and I totally binge on all the pineapple because it's so good.
It's tasty, yeah.
But like it shredded my tongue. It's very fibrous and like sharp. And like my tongue got
and it dissolved
completely
your
cut
tongue?
off, like
Wow.
sliced up and all, and I didn't notice while it was happening. And later, we were eating something else, and I was like, they were like making fun of me that my tongue hurt because I ate too much. They're like, "Didn't you know you're not supposed to eat like more than this much pineapple, or like your tongue gets shredded?"
Really?
It was so good though, I couldn't stop.
Worth it. All
Totally
right.
worth it.
Okay. All right, Becky, let's give away something.
Okay, we're giving away the Punk LED collar kit. Comes in this box in Adafruit Black.
Yeah.
Comes with the leather collar, the LEDs, the piece of fabric to insulate the LEDs from your neck, the battery holder, the potentiometer, and a battery. Really everything you need except the little bit of glue you need to put the piece of fabric on the inside. So that's a really fun kit to get started. I really would like someone to give it to their goth teenager. And the entries are everybody who asked a question today. So if you want to be entered in next week's giveaway, ask a question about wearable electronics.
Okay.
If
They're
I
easy to
answer it.
win.
Yeah, it's easy to win. It's like 25% chance usually. Okay, and the winner today of the Punk Collar Kit is Ian. You and your little sister and your massive number of wearable LEDs. This is a good start.
Congratulations. This is a great prize.
Congratulations.
Okay. Well,
And that's this week's show, Wearable Electronics with Becky Stern. Join us again next week.
we got to pay a little bit of bill before we go.
If you would like to buy anything of the things you saw today, you can get 10% off by using code CLOCK in the Flora and Wearables categories. Good until 11:59 p.m. tonight.
Okay. Great show, Becky. Good stuff.
too.
Yeah. I learned a lot. You will eat dog treats and too much pineapple if someone isn't careful. These things I've learned. And you learned when we were...
Why would the dog walker leave me a cookie is really
Yeah.
the problem in the logic was the like, I'm self-centered enough to think that, of course, the cookie is for me.
Yeah. And you learned that from my experience when we were on mute from the video that regret tastes exactly like orange vodka. Sorry, folks, it does. It's true.
Lessons learned
Yeah.
on Wearable Electronics with Becky Stern.
Alrighty.
Join
Okay.
us again next week.
All right.
And thank you so much for watching.